Hello and welcome to this presentation. In this presentation I'm going to talk about cleaning and the basics of it. So first things first, what do you need? Well, you need a PC or a Mac, and on that PC you need editing software. In this presentation I will use Photoshop, but there are alternatives like GIMP, that's freeware, or any other you like. You also need time, lots of it, to learn it and to do the cleaning itself. And optional is a scanlation group. This is mainly because it's more fun to do when you're in a group, more motivating, and you learn a lot faster if someone sees your work and says that's good, that's not good. The things I will discuss in this presentation are, the first thing is setting up Photoshop, make it look useful, make the tools available and the windows available. I will explain the tools, first the brush tool, then the burn in Dutch tool, the clone stamp and the ruler tool. After that I will explain the windows. I will explain a little about the layers, about the navigator, the history and the action tool windows. So setting up Photoshop. Well, when you first open Photoshop it will look like this. Well, not with the picture in the middle, but it will look like that. That's all beautiful but not very useful. Like here we have color management. Well, as most manga are black and white, we don't need color management. So one of the first things we do is we go to Window, and in Window we deselect everything that's selected. Like in this case, Adjustment, Color, Layer, Options, Tools. We all deselect them. After you have done that, Photoshop will look like this. Well, that's beautiful, but you can't do a thing, so we need to reselect a few things. So we go back to Window, and there we select a few. We select Action, Adjustment, History, Layers, Navigator, Options and Tools. If you have selected them all, it will look quite messy, around something like but you can drag and drop the windows as you like, so you need to reconfigure the windows. I would suggest you just play around with it, and one moment you get the thing you like, and with that you will stick. I took the freedom to show you my setup in the next picture. Let's go see it now. In this one is how I work, with the layers visible, the navigator always visible, and I have the options to view the history, action, adjustment and paths. I most often have history on because actions, adjustments and path I don't use that often. But again, you're completely free to do as you would like, and just play around with it, try it out, remove it and later change it. After you have configured the perfect configuration, you go to the small double arrow, you click on new workspace, and there it will ask for a name. You give it a nice name and you press save, and now your Photoshop is all set up. Now Photoshop is fully set up, I will start explaining about the tools. The tools are located on the left side of the screen, and you will use later on mostly all of the tools. But for now I will only explain 4 of them. These are the brush tool, the cloning stamp, the burn and Dutch tool, and the ruler tool. They are the most important ones and you will use them, well, almost always. Okay, first we'll start explaining with the brush. If you click here, you will use the brush tool, and with the brush tool you can draw lines, just like the line I did in the middle, nice and big. To make it a bit smaller or bigger, you can click right there in the option bar, and then you get a nice little pop-up, and in that pop-up you can adjust its size and hardness. Its size makes the brush smaller or bigger as you wish, and its hardness depends on how hard the edges are. I would suggest just play around with it, and after 10 seconds you will completely understand it, or at least understand how it works. In most cases you need hardness 100% and size depends on how big the picture is and how big the drawing is you need to do. In the bottom you can see what color you are using. At this moment you are using black, and the other color is white. You can change them between them with X. The second tool I would like to discuss is the Burn and Dodge tool. It's actually the most used tool because it makes the gray that needs to be black, black, and if you use the Dodge tool it makes the gray that used to be white, white. So it's used every page, every time, and quite a lot. First we go to the Burn tool, that's the one there. If you go to the option bar you see range, and that you need to put to shadow. This makes the right grays turn into black. The second important thing is to look at exposure. It needs to be somewhere in between 10 to 50%, and I would suggest 44%. The second part is the Dodge tool. In the option menu you can choose at range you can choose highlight, and exposure you need to put it somewhere between 1 and 40%, and I would suggest around 10%. That's more than enough powerful. To use the Burn or Dodge tool you just click on it, adjust its size and drag it over an area you want to make lighter or darker. That's all there is to it. The third tool I would like to explain is the cloning stamp. This is quite a funny tool to use because it will clone something to another space. So if you select it right there, then you need to press Alt and click on a spot, and then you can right click on any spot you like and it will copy the spot you selected to the new spot, and that way you can clone things you would like to another spot. Very useful for patterns and things like that. I've used it a little bit in the bottom. There you can see the little man is copied to a completely other place. It's an exact copy and it's very funny to use. Try it. You will use it a lot, and if you try it a lot you will use it better. The last tool that I would like to discuss with you is the ruler tool. The ruler tool is quite a useful tool. You won't use it that often, but if the raw is scanned in a strange angle and the picture is not straight, you can use the ruler tool to draw a line on the picture, and the ruler tool will then straighten the picture. So you draw the line, then you click straighten and it will straighten the picture. That's easy as it can be, and that's the ruler tool. That were all the tools, and after this one I will go explain. The first window I would like to explain is also one of the most important and most used windows. It's the layer windows. A layer is a painting inside the painting. So if you have a layer like I have selected now, this is this layer 1 copy. If I draw something on that layer, it will not draw on the layer under it, layer 1, or the layer under the layer 1, the background. That way, if I make a mistake in layer 1 copy, I can just remove it and make a new copy of layer 1 and try again, without any chance of that layer 1 is ruined. A very safe way to work. So now we go to the eye. The eye is quite useful. If the eye is visible, that means that the layer is active. If the eye is invisible, the layer is hidden. If the layer is hidden, you can see what is under it or what the effects are if the layer isn't activated. You have this small round button. In that button you get a drop down menu with all kinds of useful layers for editing. In cleaning case you often need to level the page. With that you can make the white more white and the black more black. I will explain this later on in the next presentation, but for now there it is. This is a small button for a new layer. It will add another layer on top of the currently selected layer, and then you will be able to draw without ruining the layer under it. I use a lot of word layer, but play with it and you will understand it. The next window I would like to discuss with you is the navigator window. It's quite a useful window. It shows you exactly where you are viewing in this moment. So if you look, the red square is exactly what I am seeing now, and if you select the red square you can move it, and when you move it you also move the big picture in the background. So it's very easy to see where you're working, and an easy way to, if you're zoomed in a lot, to move to a new spot. Under you can see how much you zoomed in, and if you move the little thing you can zoom in more or zoom in less. The third window is the history window. In the history window you can see everything you did. If we zoom in, you can see the last thing I did was dodge, cloning stamp, and brush tool. Let's say that I made a mistake in the cloning stamp. I can go all the way back to brush tool and then from then on work. So it's very useful if you made a mistake or if you want to see if it's an improvement or if it's not. Again, play with it and you will. The last window I would like to discuss with you is the action window. The action window is something you will not use in the beginning, but later on you will use it a lot, or at least it can save you a lot of time. An action is a function, and if you play it, it will do certain things like open a file, make a layer, add another layer, set a level, save the file, resize the file, and things like that. It's a really easy thing to use, and if you select the layer you just press play and it will work. To make an action you can use this small button to make a new action and give it a name, and then you press the red button and you can start recording it. After you're done you just click stop and it will save it, and then you can run that action and that will save you a lot of time. That was everything I would like to say for this time. Later on I would like to talk about loading a RAW into Photoshop, setting up the RAW for cleaning, and the steps for cleaning the RAW, and a few more things. If you have any questions so far, please go to the website and ask an admin or a cleaner, and most likely they will be able to help you. So I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck starting up cleaning.